Israel's at it again, launching strikes on 2 Syrian airports, one in the capital Damascus and the other up north in Aleppo. This isn't the first rodeo. It's the second time since things heated up between Israel and Hamas. The aftermath? Both airports are totally out of commission, with some serious damage and, sadly, loss of life. Now let's get one thing straight. Syria, yeah, they're neighbors, and totally back Palestine's freedom, but they've never really jumped into the whole Israel-Hamas conflict. So, the million-dollar question, why is Israel taking shots at Syria? Isn't that just poking the bear and risking a bigger war? A little history lesson for you. Israel and Syria, their past? Not exactly BF material. They once duked it out in the Yom Kippur War. That was basically Israel versus a bunch of Arab countries, led by Syria and Egypt. The goal, get back the Sinai Peninsula and the Golan Heights that Israel had snagged earlier. Spoiler alert, Israel won. Syria and Egypt realized they couldn't match Israel's firepower. So, what did they do? Played the oil card. After the dust settled, Arab countries cut off the oil supply to Israel, the US, and even Europe. And if any of these countries begged to buy, they'd have to pay an arm and a leg for a single barrel. The result? These countries were backed into a corner all thanks to the Arab oil embargo. So, Israel had to hand over the Sinai Peninsula back to Egypt. This whole saga, it left a bitter taste. And Israel's grudge against Arab countries, including Syria, hasn't cooled down. And now, with Israel's recent airstrikes, things are heating up again. Word on the street, Israel's attack on the Syrian airports was to stop the Iranian foreign minister from landing there. The strike happened just minutes before the plane carrying the Iranian bigwig was set to touch down. And Israel? They won't stop harping about not letting Iran back Bashar al-Assad, the current Syrian prez. Given all this drama, it wouldn't be a shocker if Syria decides to jump into the Israel-Hamas showdown. Alright, let's dive in. This nation is flexing with a solid 100,000 active personnel. And if that's not enough to impress you, throw in another 50,000 from their paramilitary. Quick math? That's a grand total of 150,000 troops. But here's a twist. With all that muscle, they're chilling at the 64th spot globally in military rankings. But hey, don't underestimate them. With Iran possibly in their corner, they could get a serious firepower boost. Now when we talk about their army, Syria ain't playing games. Those 150,000 troops, they're rolling deep with 669 rocket artillery units, a whopping 3,225 manual artillery units, and let's not forget the 319 automatic artillery units. And there's more where that came from. They've got a stash of 41,148 armored vehicles and a solid 2,616 combat tanks. Speaking of tanks, let's chat about Syria's pride and joy, the T-72 Adra. This tank is basically the T-72's twin, thanks to some teamwork with Russia. This metal beast has been on the scene since 1973 and is still making its presence felt. Price tag? A cool 61.9 million rubles, or around 10.4 billion rupiah each. For that chunk of change, you're getting a tank that's 9.53 meters of pure power, 3.59 meters wide, and weighs a hefty 44.5 tons. And that weight? Yeah, it's from the insane firepower it's packing. Main weapon? A smoothbore cannon, 125mm caliber, reaching out and touching targets 3 to 4 kilometers away. But that's not all, folks. This Russian-made monster also boasts 2 machine guns, one at 12.7mm and the other at 7.62mm. And despite its weight, the T-72's performance stats are legit. This tank can zoom at speeds between 60 to 75 km/h and can roll out for 700 km on a single fuel fill-up. Switching gears to the Navy, Given that Syria's mostly terra firma, their naval game isn't their main focus. That's probably why their land arsenal is so beefed up. If you're comparing Syria's army to its navy, it's like comparing apples and, well, oranges. As I mentioned, on terra firma, Syria's locked and loaded, but on the blue, they're sailing with a modest fleet of 33 patrol boats and a side of 7 minesweepers. So, the strategy's clear. Syria's not about naval dominance. They're baiting foes into land and sky showdowns. Alright, let's talk sky power. Syria's Air Force? Pretty darn reliable. In the Aerial Defense Department, they're soaring with 153 utility helicopters, backed up by 27 attack helicopters. But wait, there's more. This nation, which also stands with Palestine, can deploy 67 training aircraft and 5 military cargo planes to transport troops and all their heavy gear. And here's the kicker. Syria's got 18 attack aircraft and a whopping 208 fighter jets. The cherry on top? All of their fighter jets are Russian-made. But out of their impressive jet collection, the Mikoyan MiG-29 stands out as the Russian superstar. Why? This beast can blaze through the skies at a max speed of 2,450 km/h. With that kind of speed, the MiG-29 is in the supersonic league. It can cover ground, or should I say sky, with a range of 2,100 km. And it doesn't stop there. This jet can soar up to an altitude of 59,000 feet. But what makes it truly badass? Its firepower. This jet is packing a 30mm machine gun that can unleash 150 rounds in a single go. But that's not all, folks. The MiG-29 is also armed with an array of rockets, air-to-air missiles, and a variety of bombs. With all this firepower, you might be wondering about the price tag. Syria's setting aside a cool $2 billion, or roughly 31.7 trillion rupiah, annually to keep their military machine well-oiled and running.